Hi, I am Maria. Welcome to Beyond Fluent English. In the last episode, we worked on words for describing people, words like exceptional, astute, witty, and composed. If you have not watched that one yet, I recommend it. Those words change how people hear you the moment you use them to describe a colleague, a friend, or yourself. Today, we stay in upgrade territory, but we move from people to situations, the situations around us, the problems we face, the results we produce, the moments that carry real weight. You describe these situations every single day, in emails, in conversations, in meetings, in your own thinking. And if you are using words like big, bad, nice, important, and hard for all of them, you are leaving a lot of precision on the table. Today, we work on 5 upgrades for the language of situations, not 5 new words to memorize, 5 words that fit the moments you already live in, more exactly than the ones you are using now. By the end of this episode, you will have practiced them, heard them in context, and they will already feel closer than new. Let us get into it. Let's start with the word big.
Big is a word that works for almost everything, and that is exactly its problem. When something is big, all you know is that it is large. It does not tell you whether it matters. It does not tell you whether it changes anything. The upgrade is substantial. Substantial means large enough to have real significance. It implies that something does not just exist in volume, but that it carries weight, that it makes a difference. A substantial improvement is not just a large improvement, it is one that actually changes the situation. Daniel had been working on the same project for 6 months, and the final results showed a substantial increase in efficiency. Not just more in a way that mattered. On a personal level, the time Sophie spent studying abroad made a substantial difference to her confidence in English. Not a small shift, a real one. Notice that substantial often pairs with words like difference, improvement, increase, change, and evidence. These are all situations where you want to communicate that something is not just present, but meaningful. When should you keep big? In casual, warm conversation, big is perfectly natural. A big night, a big decision with a friend, a big meal. Substantial in those moments can sound stiff. Save it for when precision and weight are what you need. Now, the word bad. Bad is a reaction. It tells the listener that you disapprove, that something did not meet expectations, that you are not happy. What it does not tell the listener is why it matters, or what standard was violated. The upgrade is unacceptable. Unacceptable is not a reaction, it is a position. When you say something is unacceptable, you are not expressing how you feel. You are stating that something falls below a clear standard. It implies that a line exists and this thing has crossed it. That is a much stronger, more confident way to communicate. In a professional context, the error rate in the final deliverable was unacceptable. 3 mistakes in a client-facing document fell below the standard the team had committed to. That sentence does not sound emotional. It sounds precise and firm. On a personal level, Layla had been patient with the situation for a long time, but she reached a point where she told herself that this kind of treatment was simply unacceptable. Not bad, not upsetting. Unacceptable. When should you keep bad? When something is genuinely bad in a simple human way. A bad cold, a bad day, bad weather. Using unacceptable there would sound stiff and strange. Reserve it for situations where a real standard has been broken. Now, the word nice. Nice might be the most overworked word in English. It signals approval. It signals that you liked something or that something was pleasant, but it carries almost no information. Remarkable is different. Remarkable means worth remarking on. It suggests that something stands out. that in a field of ordinary things, this one thing is worth noticing, worth saying something about. When you say something is remarkable, you are saying that it rises above the expected. The results from the first 3 months of the program were remarkable. The team had projected modest growth, and what they saw instead was well above anything they had expected.
There is something remarkable about the way certain people hold their composure under pressure. Not nice, not impressive in a vague way, specifically worth remarking on. Remarkable also works well with things that are unexpected or that show quality in a quiet, understated way. A remarkable ability to listen. A remarkable sense of timing. These are observations that carry weight. When should you keep nice? In warm social moments. A nice dinner. You look nice. That was a nice thing to say. In those exchanges, nice is the right word because warmth matters more than precision. But when you want to signal that something genuinely stands out, remarkable is far stronger. Before we move to the last 2 words, let us pause and practice the first 3. Now, repeat each sentence after me. Take the full pause before moving on.
The results represent a substantial improvement over last year. The results represent a substantial improvement over last year. The quality of this work is simply unacceptable. The quality of this work is simply unacceptable. What she did in those circumstances was truly remarkable. What she did in those circumstances was truly remarkable. Now, the word important. Important says that something deserves attention, that it carries weight, that it should not be ignored. The upgrade is critical. Critical is stronger and more specific. Something critical is not just important. It is important at a point where the outcome depends on it. Critical implies that we are at a moment where the right choice or the right action determines what happens next. It implies stakes. The next 2 weeks are critical for the project, not just busy, not just important in a general sense. These 2 weeks are the ones that will determine whether the project succeeds or runs into serious problems. The whole direction depends on what happens here.
For Marcus, the years spent in his late 20s felt, in retrospect, critical. The habits he built, the decisions he made, the people he surrounded himself with, those years shaped everything that followed. Critical also works well in professional writing and reporting. A critical milestone, a critical factor, a critical failure. Each of these means not just significant, but significant in a way where the result matters deeply. When should you keep important? Not every important thing is critical. Important works for things that deserve attention without high stakes attached. An important relationship, an important idea, an important meeting. When urgency and consequence are both present, critical is the word. And finally, the word hard. Hard describes difficulty. It tells you that something requires effort, that it is not easy. The upgrade is demanding. Demanding describes what the difficulty asks of you. A demanding task does not just require effort. It requires a specific quality of effort. Your attention, your skill, your patience, your discipline. Demanding carries respect for what the task requires. It does not just say, "This is difficult." It says, "This calls for something real." In a professional context, working in that environment was demanding. High expectations, tight timelines, and very little room for error.
The word demanding here communicates that the environment required genuine capacity, not just willingness. On a personal level, the first year in a new country is genuinely demanding. Anna was building a social life from nothing, learning new systems, adapting to a different culture, and managing a full workload at the same time. All of that simultaneously. The word demanding fits exactly. Demanding also works for roles, relationships, and projects. A demanding client, a demanding position, a demanding creative process. In each case, the word says this requires real resources from the person doing it. When should you keep hard? In direct, honest, personal moments.
I am finding this hard. This is genuinely hard for me. In those moments, hard is clear and human. Demanding in a personal conversation can feel a little formal. In professional speech and writing, demanding is almost always the stronger choice. Now let us hear all 5 of these words working together. Ben had been preparing for the presentation for 3 weeks. The client was known to be demanding, exacting, precise, the kind of person who noticed everything. The stakes were critical. A contract of this size would be the most substantial deal the team had ever closed. By the day before the meeting, Ben felt the pressure. The preparation had been genuinely demanding, and there had been one moment, midway through the week, when the first draft of the slides came back with so many problems that the team agreed it was simply unacceptable, and they started again. But when the presentation ended and the client said that the work was remarkable, everything that had been hard seemed, in that moment, worth exactly what it had cost. Now, let us do a quick challenge. I will give you a basic sentence, and then I will give you the upgraded version. The goal is not to test you. The goal is to hear the pattern quickly. The difference in salary was big. The difference in salary was substantial.
His behavior during the meeting was bad. His behavior during the meeting was unacceptable. The view from the hotel was nice. The view from the hotel was remarkable. This decision is very important for the company. This decision is critical for the company. The training process was quite hard. The training process was genuinely demanding. Here is what these 5 upgrades have in common. They do not just describe a situation more precisely. They tell the listener something about how you see the world. A person who says substantial instead of big is paying attention to significance, not just size. A person who says unacceptable instead of bad is operating from standards, not just feelings. A person who says remarkable is noticing the world carefully. These words do not just describe situations, they describe the speaker. In the next episode, we move into the language of decisions, how advanced speakers talk about the choices they make, the options they weigh, and the conclusions they reach. The language of deciding is one of the most frequent and one of the most underestimated areas of vocabulary for B2 learners.